Seriously, we're at page 258-59, and we're only now learning that JB is doing drugs in kind of, obviously, a more obsessive way than just an occasional fix here and there, once a year, something like that. No, he seems to be addicted to drugs, and like, this wasn't mentioned before. It's also like with this Sophie, who is apparently Malcolm's girlfriend / probably fiance. We never got to experience that as well. And I don't know, I'm a bit disappointed that so important stuff is just left out. We had JB's and Malcolm's point of view in the first part, but now we don't have them anymore, so we don't learn basically anything about them anymore. We have a little bit information on JB and Malcolm here and there, but like, really, we don't know anything about them anymore because it's mostly just about Willem and Jude. And don't get me wrong, I like that. I like Willem and Jude the best, so I like reading from their point of view and learning about their story, but it's kind of sucks that you don't get the really important stuff from the others. Like, I would want to know this and not like being then starting the chapter with a sentence like, the last time JB really tried to stop doing drugs, it was 4th of July weekend, and you're like, what? How could I not know that? Because you really seem to be really close to the characters, and then you realize you aren't. And JB has been absent for a while. The relationship with JB and the rest of the group wasn't that good, and one of the other things I don't like about this book so far, not only the time jump here and there, and you don't know in which time period you are exactly not where you are, but when you are, and how it is connected to the rest of the story. And that it seems there is just the focus on one character all the time, and then you're learning stuff that basically was there the whole time, and you really didn't have a chance to see it. And that's the other thing I don't like. But otherwise, the book is okay. Like, with the confusing time that you don't know when you are, is in the last chapter there was this part about Jude's new place, the one that he bought, and I thought he had already bought a place and then got to the other place with his friend, and I didn't realize this was the place he was going to rent, because we had heard about this place before, that he had bought a place that he basically paid it off completely and so on and so forth. And that was like, yeah, I don't get that stuff sometimes, and that's the only thing that's mocking me. And as you see, I still have a lot to go. I have this much done and this much left. And since when is JB fat? This was also never mentioned before. Oh, Jesus. How this last chapter kind of ruined the whole part. So, Vanities has 3 chapters, one about Willem, one about Jude, and one about JB. And the Willem and Jude chapters kind of work together. And then there's the JB chapter, where we see that JB has become a drug addict, and basically we only just learned in this part the big fight that JB and Jude had with his first show, and then it's over 5 years later, and we see how this incident kind of ruined the friendship. and how it affected JB, but also kind of how it affected Jude and Willem, who have become closer because of this incident, and JB, who was kind of pushed away, who became a drug addict because of this, and who became a really ugly person. I mean, the first time I read from JB's point of view, I liked him. I liked reading from his point of view, although he was a bit arrogant and a bit shallow. But it was okay, but every time I read from another perspective and JB is mentioned, he's just kind of an asshole. And in this chapter, even reading from his perspective doesn't make it better, because he kind of is this character who wants so much and who has so much plans, but every time he opens his mouth, there's just shit coming out. To be honest, I don't really understand him, and this chapter kind of made me upset, and I don't hate him, but I clearly don't like him, and I am not sure if I want the best for him, whatever this may be. And this chapter kind of left me with an feeling. I liked this part, I really did, and I liked this Jude and Willem chapters, but now, like, with this chapter that was not bad because of the story, but like bad because of what happened, that kind of made me sad and angry and shocked, made my love for this first two chapters in the part kind of die down a lot. And I mean a lot. I'm kind of like, whoa, this was the worst part so far. And to be honest, I don't really understand JB and why he does the things he does, especially at the end, where he has a way out and he's afraid of this guy, Jackson, he became kind of friends with, but Jackson is really an asshole. I wouldn't say that JB is as much a drug addict as he is addicted to Jackson and being around him. He actually hates Jackson, and Jackson is really a bad guy, and he's complete asshole and so on and so forth, but he kind of can't stop hanging around him, and he is afraid of him and he doesn't like him, but he still hangs around him, and he becomes an asshole himself because of this. Kind of when you're being held a prisoner and start to have feelings for your captor because of the Stockholm syndrome, something like that, but just without being held captive or anything. I actually don't really understood why JB lashed out the way he did at the end of the chapter and became so mean. And I can understand that he's upset that Jude isn't sharing anything. I guess I would be mad as well if I were him, or if I were a friend of Jude's, but that doesn't really justify how he behaves. And I guess if I were a friend of JB's, I'm not sure if I could be his friend after something like this, although he needs help, but I'm torn. I think he needs help and he deserves help, but at the same time I think, just go to hell. If you don't want to accept help, then what do I care? I don't know, this chapter kind of wasn't the best thing, and it makes me kind of down. The first two chapters I really liked, seeing Jude and Willem, and seeing that Willem has become a famous actor and that he has made a career, and that Jude as well has made a career and kind of accepted his life. I really like that. But then, as I earlier said, there are these situations where stuff about the four characters is just there. It's just unmentioned because, I don't know, because we don't read from the character's point of view, like the thing with JB and the drugs, and Malcolm and his girlfriend, and as we learn in chapter 3, his wife, because they marry, and I'm like, what, when do they marry? We just had maybe we're going to get married. We're just on off and I don't know, and I don't know if I should propose. Should I propose? And I actually would love to have more Malcolm at the moment because he's mentioned constantly, but we don't really get something from him. We don't get his life, and that's pretty sad. We get those informations about his life, those important informations about his life, and we're just like, yeah, whatever. I mean, I would love to be happy for Malcolm, but because I don't know Sophie, and I just heard of her like 2 to 3 times, I can't be like, woo, he's getting married, woo, woo, woo. Oh no, he has gotten married. I'm sorry, he's gotten married. I can't, because like, there could be any name. There could be a girl, a guy, there could be blank. I would have loved to know more about this. I would have loved to have the actual marriage situation happening, like the whole ceremony where all are there except maybe JB because he's JB at the moment. I would have loved to have that in the book, like more of this love story of the two, how they got to know each other, how they live together, how he proposes, like more of that to be more in the scene. Same as for the JB thing, although this is explained later on, but I wish that this all would be sooner and that it's just not that you have the information at one point and then get explained and get why and how. I have 4 more parts to go and I almost, like, not really, but as close from the parts as I can be. I'm kind of near the middle and I like this book still. It's like one of these unique books that you don't read really often, that either you like or either you hate, because they have so much in them that you can't really grasp, I believe, but at the same time don't actually tell you that much. It's not like a really action-packed book, but I guess I've made clear what points I don't like so far about the book. And I hope this changes, or I hope I can come to terms with it at the end, that I go out of the book without questions. That would be nice. Okay, I've read like 10 pages, but I still need to talk to you guys again, because those 10 pages were surprisingly really intense. They were about what kind of became of Jude and JB and how JB's outburst at the end of part 3 had an effect on their friendship. That was really intense. And I'm not sure if I'm going to cry again, but it made me really tear up to see Jude so down. It really made me tear up to have this scene with Jude in front of the mirror and imitating JB's imitation of him. It just made me so sad that he really feels like people see him that way. It just completely kind of destroyed me already. And I didn't want to continue reading because I just saw Willem and Robin and talk about stuff, and I was like, no, I don't want to know that. I don't want to know anything. Robin is Willem's new girlfriend, and I was like, okay, he's getting married to her, and I don't want that happening. Like, I'm still really hard on shipping Willem and Jude. I really am. I really want them as a couple. I haven't completely read it, but just like this reaction, I just need to throw my conspiracy theories out there. It's not that Willem is getting married to his girlfriend, but that it seems like a friend of this girlfriend, has a certain interest in Jude, and that maybe Jude has the opportunity of having a romantic relationship, which I'm pretty sure he will turn down because he doesn't see himself that way. But just like the possibility of Jude and the girlfriend and having a relationship, a romantic relationship with kissing and all other sorts makes me really excited. And I'm like, oh. I just needed to tell you that I'm still really wanting to have Willem and Jude as a couple, but I just love Jude and he's such a sweet guy, and I want to go into this book and hug him, and if he doesn't get together with Willem, then I kind of want to be the one for Jude. So Jude's kind of one of my possible book boyfriends at the moment, so I of course want to see him happy and want him to have a full life and a fulfilled life. And yeah, so I'm kind of really excited for that, and I'm rooting for that. Last update for 2016. Wow, this was like a load of shit. And then when he actually met Caleb and Caleb went on a date with him and kissed him, I was like really, I wasn't expecting that. And I didn't like Caleb kind of from the beginning, because if there was a guy he would get together with, it would be Willem for me. Always Willem. Once and for all, Willem forever. Because Willem and Jude are for me like still the OTP in this book. But then what happened after the kiss and how everything progressed, it was somehow too much for me, because I emotionally drew a line and kind of separated myself from the story, and I kind of didn't like that because I wasn't feeling with the story. I was really shocked and pissed at what Caleb was saying at the most of the times at the scenes where the wheelchair was involved, when he was like, well, don't use it. Yeah, you can still walk. I believe your doctor would say otherwise, but I think as long as you can walk, you can walk, and you should walk, and everything will be fine. And just don't be like a little pussy about it. Just be a man and don't pretend that there is something there that isn't. I was really pissed at that. And what I kind of hated the most about this certain Caleb episode wasn't like this rape and this abuse that happened, but mostly how Jude saw himself because of Caleb, because of the relationship they were having, because he was like, yeah, I won't have anything better, I don't deserve anything better, I can't get anything better, so I kind of keep staying, although I know this isn't quite right and this isn't how it should be, but I'm so worthless that it doesn't matter. And that Jude actually really adapts Caleb's way of seeing the world and made me so sad and so mad at Caleb. This was kind of the worst part, like having to endure how Jude literally crumbled. That was really hard and I didn't like it at all. And I actually wonder what is wrong with this Caleb. I really ask myself, how can someone become like this? Like what is his actual problem? Because obviously he hates cripples. No offense to anyone out there, but Caleb seems to do, but at the same time he kind of seems attracted to them as long as they are not too cripply. I believe it's just so weird, and I would really want to look inside his head and really understand him. Like I would want to try to understand him and would want to know what he's thinking and how he's justifying the things he did. I mean, this part where he said that his parents were so sick and that they kind of were giving up quicker than they should have, that they could have kept going, but they were just kind of giving up and accepting their fate, although it wasn't too late already. It kind of made me understand, and at the same time I still don't understand him, and I would really actually want to understand this Caleb character, although he's so bad. And because I kind of emotionally separated myself when all of this happened, I kind of also was emotionally separated throughout this whole part. We got more of this Brother Luke episode, like what so bad happened with Brother Luke, and like basically we filled in most of the gaps. There's just a little gap still left in Jude's past, but we mostly have it all. Wow, I actually can't believe that Jude didn't try to kill himself sooner. He had to deal with so freaking much. I can't believe how any person can endure so much and still be walking straight. And I actually, it's really funny that I keep going back in the book to refresh certain parts, like what actually happened to Willem's brother, because I forgot, or because I misunderstood something, like within the monastery. I didn't really understood that they were abusing Jude the way they did. I didn't really got the sexual context the first time, so I was at one point like, no, they're not. No, you know that's not what happened. Went back and like, oh, it was just not that explicitly described, but still happening. It was just really a lot, and that Jude was so destroyed by Caleb and kind of couldn't get back up again. I could understand it, and that he tried to kill himself. It was bad, it was really bad, but it was understandable. Kind of every time something ends on kind of a cliffhanger, I'm always expecting Jude to be gone. That never happened. And I hope things get better, and like actually having this whole relationship with Brother Luke and his prostitution. Also, Brother Luke is a character I can't quite get because he is such a weirdo. He's obviously a pedophile, but like all the other stuff, and I also can't understand at all what's going on in his mind, that he's like at the one time, I love you Jude, you're my sweet boy, I love you more than just a father-son relationship. But then at the same time, like making him prostitute himself when he was caught, that he just went into the bathroom and killed himself. That's also like, why? What's wrong with you? Okay, no, what's wrong with you is the wrong question, because everything is wrong with him, but I think you get my point. And that Jude actually has no idea what his relationship with Brother Luke actually is and how he feels about him, if he hates him, if he loves him, if he is in love with him. But like, no, he can't be in love with him because he was abused, and like it would be more like a Stockholm syndrome thing. But still, I don't think he loved him. He only believes he does because he has no other perspective. And Jesus Christ, it was just also intense, but I have the feeling that it made Jude's and Willem's relationship stronger, and I hope that it grows better between the two of them, and that they kind of come to a better point. And I have really, really high hopes at the moment, because the next part is called The Happy Years, so I really hope that the happy years are not in the past, but that the happy years are kind of like coming, and that Jude becomes happy.